How much time do we have left? I need to know that.
You have 20 minutes left. Make an outfit, right? And so a great way to market yourself is to attach said outfit with a UGC tag.
It's just so complicated. I'm always stressed I'm gonna like miss something. Also, how do you pronounce your name? Is it Anair Lou or Anair what? Because I'm pretty sure I did that wrong, right?
No, the first one was pretty close. It's Anna Rulu.
Say it again. Anna.
Anna Rulu. Separated
Oh.
into two. So my name, Anna, and then
Yeah.
Rulu.
Rulu. Okay.
Like French,
I see it.
Rulu.
Yeah. So Anna, you're the new chairwoman of Bakey's Bakery. You're the owner of the famous Bloxy award-winning clothing group Kestrel, which I personally have known about for I guess as long as I've been on Roblox. It's been a big thing. You're an event coordinator and a Spanish translator. You've done a lot on Roblox, but I don't want to steal your thunder. Could you brag a bit about your experience on Roblox and just give us a little bit of a backstory about who you are and what you've done?
Yeah, so I started on the platform in 2011. That is around the same time that I started to get into clothing designing. That eventually led me to clothing groups, and that's where I found Kestrel. And in 2013, when the company was founded, I jumped in maybe 2 months later and worked my way up for over 7 years, just working with the devs and working with the different owners that were part of the company throughout the year. And then I eventually ended up owning it in 2020. From then, it was kind of like a catalyst, and like things just got crazy because it was like immediately that opened up a lot of doors for me. So I was able to apply to be an event organizer because I had such a big community under Kestrel. So they gave me the opportunity to host events for designers, and that's been going great. My first event was like over 500 something attendees,
Mm-hmm.
which was like a record for them. And I was like, you guys are crazy. Like there's no way that was like like that big of a deal. But like I looked at the analytics of everything, and they were like, no, like it was 500. And I was like, wow, that's crazy. I had no idea that many people cared about designing clothing and stuff, since it was such a like underrepresented community.
So, besides Kestrel, I know you only recently got in 2020, but what all have you been involved with and worked on besides Kestrel, but on Roblox? So, I don't know if I missed this in your introduction, but when did you actually like get involved? Like, how did you find out, and when did you get involved with Roblox?
So 2011, around there, was when I learned about Roblox, and I was like 10 or 11.
10.
So definitely for me, way too young to like know what like real development is, like game
Right.
loops and things like that. Like as I grew up, maybe around when I was like 16 is when I learned about the world of like taking commissions,
Mm-hmm.
and I started to do designing and stuff for like a whole bunch of like different games and groups. I never worked with any game or group consistently. Like most of my commissions were like contractual work that was just like one and done. But I did do like a lot of stuff for like a bunch of like clan groups and things like that, starting off really small. And now I do more things for like ultimate driving. I did some stuff just to cook. Like it's so hard to think because I've done so much. I'm like, it's all
Right.
like like jumbled in my brain. But yeah, and then now only recently did I really, really get into like 3D modeling. So now I'm just working on like models and stuff for like bakies and for like friends
Yeah.
and stuff.
This is something that I'd probably cover in chapter 3, but I'm curious now. What is the goal for you in Roblox? Like, are you wanting to like launch your own thing outside of Roblox, or are you looking to like turn Roblox into like your full-time gig for the foreseeable future?
Before owning Kestrel, turning Roblox into a long term gig was not a thought in my head. The original plan was to go to a good undergrad and then graduate and go to law school and take the bar and become a lawyer.
Wow.
I'm still on that track. However, I wouldn't say that I'm not considering Roblox as like a secondary income in the future. Right now, I am very content with where I am. And I know that that's like such an odd answer because so many
Yeah.
people are like, I want to grow, I want to do. And I have plans, but right now, like for me, it's always been a lot more about the community and just like logging on and seeing so many people be excited about whatever it is that I'm doing rather than just like focusing on like the income side of things. For now, it's not necessarily something that I intend on like really relying on, but who knows, you know, like so much change from then to now where I can afford more and more things. And so I'm like, well, that's not something you ignore, you know, you don't just like, all right, I'm graduating, I'm out. Like you try to grow on that. So
Yeah. So becoming a lawyer and then taking on Roblox full time are like completely two different things.
Yeah.
Wow. Kind of to bring it back to Roblox, what would you consider your biggest accomplishment so far on the Roblox platform?
And this might seem very like minute, but to me it was huge. It was getting Roblox to listen to me. I think a lot of devs struggle with individual voices that they would like for Roblox to hear. The company itself is very receptive to user feedback and stuff like that. When Gucci came onto the platform and uploaded clothing with copyrighted content from Kestrel, that was a very difficult moment, but very eye-opening for me because I had worked so hard to revive the name of a group that had died out in a while, and then it was a little difficult to see someone so big take some of your intellectual property and just kind of put their name on it. I've never tweeted out a storm in the way that I did, and emailed and called and just like wanted to get a hold of anyone and everyone who would listen. They did. They took the clothing down and re-uploaded it, which was dope. And the conversations that ensued from that was a lot of designers feeling like this is the girl that we're gonna need to have our backs in case something ever does happen. And that is like the greatest feeling in the world.
So if you could describe your story, the kind of transition into chapter 2, in just one or two words, what would those words be and why?
Overcoming hurdles. I think everyone's work is all about setting goals, finding something that's stopping you from getting there, and then jumping right over it. For me, that's how I've always seen things. I've always mapped out the hurdles that I'm gonna potentially face before I even get to what it is that I want to achieve. Getting to own Kestrel was not easy. It's 7 years of like sticking with the company and going through a lot of stuff like you know, exploiters at the time when it was like not easy to protect your game, like leaking your game and stuff like that, dealing with like low member count, things like that, and just like not giving up. And same thing with like the Gucci situation. It was very easy for me to just not say anything, just think like, oh, they're so big of a company, they're not gonna care. But it's like I've always viewed life in that frame of like, just like, there is no settling for less. You have to jump over whatever it is that's stopping you. I think that's like that immigrant mentality of like like you're not allowed to like stop, like you have to go. So
yeah. So there's a lot to this, but what would you say is one of the toughest parts about working in the clothing industry on Roblox? So I'm not even in it, but I can already think of a few.
It's hard.
Yeah.
It's hard. Like I'm about to say some controversial things that I feel like a lot of designers are not ready to hear yet. But the clothing industry on Roblox has a more younger demographic than I would say the development side of Roblox. I feel like a lot of developers really get their start maybe around 16, 17, where they like really like understand everything. And then you have like your prodigies that are like insane and they're starting at like 13, 14, 15 and they're like crazy developers. With designers, I'd say a lot of them fall within an age range where they're still figuring themselves out personally, and so it leads to a lot of drama.
Yeah.
There's a lot of the clothing community, especially on Twitter, is just filled with like mines that you always want to like avoid stepping on. Besides that, it's feeling underrepresented. I feel like a lot of issues with the design community are set aside, and I've voiced this before, and I've gotten a lot of mixed opinions from developers and stuff. I feel like developers are always put on a higher priority list than designers are. That makes it difficult for us to feel motivated to continue working on the platform, because we have things like the introduction of the fee, and so like that makes it more difficult for us to feel motivated to upload and also get that money back that we spent hours and hours like uploading this one thing, and now we're not getting any profit from that. So that was difficult, and feeling like we weren't being heard and kind of making things easier on us. The introduction of like the announcement of 3D clothing made everyone panic. None of us, or the majority of us, don't know a thing about like 3D modeling or like bump maps and stuff like that. So it really scared a lot of us to feel like we were going to get phased out from the platform. I think lastly, I think the biggest thing is probably how everyone is kind of in their own world. I feel like devs feel more connected to each other, because unless you're a unicorn and you can script, model, and build, you have like to make a successful game, you have to work with other people. Always. When you're a designer, you can work by yourself. It's just one thing. You upload it to your group and you generate profit from that. So sometimes people feel more inclined to distance themselves from others. And I've noticed that a lot. And I feel like my events kind of have been trying to push against that.
So, what would you say your personal mission is? In, I guess, a different way to word that would be, you know, what's something that you'd like to achieve that you haven't yet?
Somebody said this, I forget who it was, but I was in a voice call, and they were like, "You're like the fairy godmother of designers." And I was like, I sat there and I was like, that's really cute to think of it that way. And I don't necessarily feel that way yet. One of my biggest goals would be to get a foot in the door, maybe head over to California and do something physically at HQ for Roblox in the name of designers, and just representing the culture that is designers, the catalog, help them see what kind of features and optimization would be great for us. I think that would be like, I could die happy. I did what I set out to do for designers. Like, this is it. And be able to like sit and like have a meeting with like execs and just be like, hey, this is what we need. I think that would be great. That would probably be my biggest goal on the platform. And
then, so last question. Just like, what's some general advice you have for the people watching right now? Just advice in general.
A once very wise woman by the name of Just Mama, also known as Heather, once told me, if you worry about the money of things, you're not going to get anywhere. Worry about you, the quality, getting the community excited, the actual experience of it first, and money will come. Money is a secondary thought.